the windows of hope in other 46 different countries as well. So please make sure and please bear with me as well. You guys have been bearing with me for a longer period of time. But I think that it feels great to work with people who actually adore you. I think this is the first thing. And, when you're working with people and you do not have anything within your own self as well to say to them, I think that's the best feeling. You feel relaxed as well while you're working. Before you do that and after you do that as well, this is the best part of the job.
Right.
And I think that half of the people over here within this country are so stressed about what he's going to say, what she's going to say. So I think it all comes down to a point where you just need to be content with whatever type of work you do is well received by people. What about you? What do you have to say about this?
David, I absolutely do agree with whatever you said, but I do have something else to talk about.
No, but I have a problem, and can you please solve it for me?
Okay, I'll
so
try.
for the last 1 month I wasn't going to the gym, but now I suddenly started going to the gym, and I think my shirt's just a little too tight.
Oh, okay.
My muscles are
okay, but that's
flexing.
great you're going to the gym because, of course, you should have a healthy routine. I don't, and I'm telling you that you're doing very great. But Shazad, you often do talk about, I think we have discussed this quite a lot of times. Well, there's a growing culture in Pakistan. It's been here ever since, I can remember.
Yeah.
Whenever one of your friends is starting a business, rather than helping them by probably, ordering something from their business or, things like that, what we tend to do is, treat dena. Like, treat kidhar hai, it's a khana bhijwa do kar, things like that. Which I personally, obviously, despise, do not like, because you're not helping them. They sort of, you are the ones who need to push start their business.
Exactly,
and you're not
exactly.
doing that.
So, okay, so I'll explain it to you. Ladies and gentlemen, so recently I'm reading this book, which is with the name of The Art of Thinking Clearly. It's written by Dobelli. It's a million copy seller as well. So there's this thing, and he says that, never ever take a favor from anybody, because one day or the other, you'll have to return it. So that's how it is.
That's true.
And unfortunately, I think that, you've really picked up on a thing which is very common over here in Pakistan, and we expect that this is our right, and, friends can do that. Or family, I think, is fine, even if they want to come for free. But for friends, come on. You guys need to be supportive of the fact of whatever somebody's taken an initiative. You really need to back it up. And I will give an example where, we talk about Kardashians, Kanye West, people who are Hollywood celebrities, and, they have their own product lines. We do not even think about a single second, and we just buy all of those products, and we do not even get to see them in lifetime.
Yeah.
And on the other hand, we are not supportive of the content we are creating over here. But at the same time, I think things are changing. I think we are picking up on things, but we really need to educate people. Please do not do that, and I think it's going to start from you. So one day when you're not going to expect that, your friend has opened up a restaurant and you need a free meal, I think that's where change is going to come.
Absolutely, I do agree with that. And Shazad, since you mentioned the book that you are reading, which is absolutely great, I am probably going to get to that.
Yeah.
But currently, I am reading A Case of Exploding Mangoes by Muhammad Hanif. It's about Pakistan. It's boring, but I really do like what you are reading. Anyway, since we are talking about Pakistan, you need to tell what we're discussing on the show today. And ladies and gentlemen, I promise you this is going to be super entertaining for all of you as well, because you've been witnessing this thing lately in the theaters around you.
Exactly. And so I've got a story to share as well.
Okay.
Before I introduce our guest. So ladies and gentlemen, ever since, I was born, there were two things which I wanted to do. One, I wanted to be on television. But the most,
can I guess?
Yeah, the most I wanted to do was to be an Air Force pilot.
Yes.
And but thanks to Allah Almighty that I've made it to television, because I never made it to being an Air Force pilot, and that is because of the fact that I failed my entry test miserably. And, so there were 4 subjects I had to appear in. I failed in all 4 of them.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm sorry to say that. But imagine that the type of passion I had for Air Force was such that I would actually sleep. Even for TV and even for Air Force.
Yeah.
And I'll actually have dreams where I'm flying planes and F-16s and dogfights and whatnot. So, I've always had a thing for aeroplanes. Even outside the airport, I'll just stand and, look at planes taking off and, coming back home as well. And the best part is that I've actually flown Cessna for like 12, 14 hours, that's it. And it was a favor by somebody.
That's
so
sweet.
I could never actually even qualify for the private pilot license, which is indeed a problem for me. But other than that, so whenever a movie of such sort comes out, I think I'm very excited to go and watch it. Unfortunately, I have not been able to watch this film, but I will definitely. And it's because of the fact that there was one more film about planes which was released a few months back as well, and it was again back in the cinema. So I thought that I should take a look at this one first, and then on the second one. So before we introduce to you, who do we have over here, ladies and gentlemen? Trailer from the very amazing film Sherdil is on its way.
Joining instructions, PAF Academy. What?
तुम जो रिश्ता बनाने जा रहे हो ना, उसे निभाना बहुत मुश्किल है।
We welcome our allied partners to the 47th Top Lances.
This is Flight Lieutenant Virani, Arun Virani from India. अगर एक सेकंड के बाद पुल किया होता ना तो आप इस वक्त यहाँ नहीं होते।
हम हैं और हम रहेंगे। तुम अपने प्यार के बदले मुझसे मेरा जुनून मांग रही हो। अगर हम दुश्मन को पसपा करने में नाकाम रहे तो इसका मतलब है सर्जिकल स्ट्राइक्स, जो कि अब तक उनका ख्वाब रहा है। 3, 2, 1, strike!
Well,
ladies and gentlemen, so that was a trailer from the film Sherdil. It's in the cinemas these days as well. Please make sure to go. It has crossed 11 crore rupees over in Pakistan, which I think is a big collection.
Absolutely.
But we've been joined by the team. We're going to ask about the film as well, because to my knowledge, it starts from where it is 1965 war.
Yes.
But, looking at the trailer, doesn't really look like that it was 1965. But we'll ask about it since we haven't watched the film. We cannot give everything away.
Also, we're not supposed to give out spoilers to the people who haven't watched it yet. But we are definitely going to, give you bits and pieces of what did happen in the movie and probably stories behind that.
Yeah.
So without further ado,
ladies and gentlemen, the person who actually gets to produce, write, and he definitely gets to act in the film too as well. He's none other than Mr. Noman Khan. Hello, assalamu alaikum, how are you?
Thank you very much for having us here at the PTV.
Thank you very much for joining us. It's wonderful to have you. I think that this is the right time that I actually need to pitch in, probably my portfolio as well. Okay? But alongside Mr. Noman Khan, ladies and gentlemen, the ace director for the Sherdil movie, Mr. Asfar Jafri. Hello, assalamu alaikum, how are you?
Hello, I'm good. How are you?
Absolutely perfect. Thank you very much for joining us. I just cannot understand it. You direct a film which has actually been a blockbuster as well so far, and you still are so modest. How come?
I have no idea. I think it's
fine. Okay, that's good.
because of my parents, maybe my upbringing.
oh, that's so sweet.
Okay, that's nice. And alongside Mr. Asfar, ladies and gentlemen, I think he's actually made his debut within this film as well. He's a good-looking, great, amazing, charming guy. He's none other than Mr. Ali Saqib. Hello, Ali. Assalamu alaikum. How are you?
Walaikum salam. I'm good. How are you?
Absolutely perfect. Ali, there's this one question which I'm wanting to ask you, and I don't know what you're going to say about it, but I am willing to place my bet on it. Have we met before this show as well?
Yes, we have met before.
See, I never wanted to ask this question before, because then it would ruin the entire taste or flavor of it. Where did we meet? Was it somewhere safe?
It was right here.
It was right here. Okay, that's great. Okay. So let's get the conversation started, Noman Sahab. So yeah, let's talk about what were you thinking when you actually wrote the entire story.
In fact, 3 years ago, I produced a song of Junaid Jamshed, happened to be his last one, and that was of the Pakistan Air Force. Yeah. And Tum Hi Se Mujahido, Jahan Ka Sabat Hai, and I made a medley of all the Milli Nagmas, national songs. Yeah. So I made that, and after that, Junaid started persuading me that you should be doing a bigger project. Okay. And at the same time, Mikal Zulfikar also said that I've worked with you, and Noman Bhai, I would like you to do something bigger than that. So I was not agreeing to it, but after 6 months' time, I said, let's give it a chance. Okay. And then I went to different writers, I talked with them, and whenever they used to give me a scene back, because I had the one-liner, I had the synopsis in my head, but whenever the scene used to come to me, that never used to hit me the way I wanted it.
Yeah.
Okay. So I went to Aftab Iqbal Saab and I told him that, how about if you could kindly attempt the movie? And he said, I want to tell you something, Mr. Noman Khan, that the way I've spoken with yourself, you will not be happy with any of the writing. And I said, why? he said that because you are so involved into it, you are an ex-army officer, and you know what is the, in fact, format, situation, screenplay in your head, so you're very strong over it. So I would kindly request that you should attempt it.
Right.
I am a writer. I had written 4 or 5 books also, but writing a script for a movie was a different ball game.
Yeah.
So I studied it for next 2 months and then started attempting it. And today, you know, my editor was saying that, sir, whenever we sit down and cut a trailer or teaser, we have very few catch lines or the taglines to be found and placed into the trailer or teaser. In every scene, I can find out at least 2 taglines. So once you will see this thing, and many of the Pakistanis see, so you will find out those things.
Okay, very
Wow,
nice.
that's great. Yeah, please go on.
I'm sorry that you raised the finger, but you know, I think my questions are in very connectivity
go on,
as well.
go on.
So, how long did it take you to write the entire script?
Any script takes 4 to 5 drafts at least, and it does took this way. Some of the scenes I sometimes think whenever I see it on the screen that I conceived it, I wrote it, and about 95% of that scene, the first time once I scribbled it, it is today on the screens. But some of the scenes, I would say I have just kept a book of over 150 drafts that I made 150 drafts. So it came out like that. So I would say it took something like 8 to 9 months, and this is a continuous process. During the process also, we sat down with our director, we sat down with our actors, and they always said, can we have little adjustment to this thing? It looks very superfluous, or maybe it would look longer. Can we do that? And sometimes we used to agree it, sometimes we used to say, let it go like that. So it is a continuous process, but any script writer should know that he is going to take at least 8 months' time
Okay, wow,
to write these 100 pages.
Wow, that's absolutely brilliant. But moving on to yours for now, he already mentioned that, you know, there were suggestions coming in from you guys and even the actors. First of all, is he a flexible writer? Did he take any of your suggestions?
He did actually. He took all my suggestions, and I originally, you know, when he approached me, I was a bit skeptical. I wasn't comfortable with the fact that there were certain points in the story that I was not comfortable with, and I shared those with Namasab, and he was very
open to your idea.
Open to it, and changed them instantly.
Okay, perfect. So now this question, I'm pretty sure this is on behalf of a lot of people out there as well. So recently, this was a few weeks back, Pakistan had to encounter sort of a, you know, dilemma with our very friendly neighbor that we all know. And just probably 1 or 2 days later, you release a movie with the very same storyline and, you know, things happening that already did happen in real life. And a lot of people believe that you were probably inspired by the real ideas. But one would think, how can you recreate those scenes in 2 days? So what was the idea behind it? Were you already done with shooting all of that? And how come this was such a big coincidence?
Yeah, actually, the concept of this film, like Naman Saab said, it, like, you know, I think he started working on it 3 years back. And obviously, the execution was like, the production part was last February, from January to March.
We started off on 9th of the January.
And we went till 9 April, I think till April, we shot till April, right? So between different spells. So it takes a long time to execute a project, you know, a project like Sherdil especially. We had to travel so much to different bases. We had to travel abroad. We had to like then edit the film. Then we had to do sound, music, and grading and everything. It takes a long time. So it was a mere coincidence what actually happened.
But a lucky coincidence.
Just to take it further, it happened on 27th of February. And by 27th of February, we had packed the movie. I was in Turkey, and once it happened, and the airspace to Pakistan was denied for a few days also. So everything was packed, and you know, I started receiving calls from the directors and producer. They say, what a timing for such a movie. Because whenever a producer is trying to unleash his great project, he's thinking, even Steven Spielberg would think about this thing, is it the right time? Is it the right date? And before that, everybody said, what a timing, couldn't be better than that. So
I must amend, it was Naman Saab's idea to release it exactly when something happens.
I think that's great, but probably, we do not even want such an incident taking place again as well. But thank God that, the
Yes,
film
it was
came.
quite unfortunate.
Yeah,
but
it was quite unfortunate. But now, I'm sorry that I'll have to bring you back to the basics as well. So while you started writing the script of the film, then you might have been going through different suggestions, okay, who needs to be the director, and while you're writing the script, and since you've worked so much in the industry, you might be thinking those characters which you're writing yourself that, okay, probably this actor could do it, probably this one could do it. So how did that process go? How did the casting go? Or did you outsource this to somebody else that, you guys might be able to do justice with it?
Very contemplative question.
Known for
In
this.
fact, what happened was that once I wrote this thing, I never had a director in my mind. I never had an actor in my mind. And yes, it used to come that maybe this scene would be done by this actor better, this scene would be done. But I was so focused onto the story each day that I never got a time to think about it. But as I completed it and I was trying to cast these people, then there was a big list of the people. For example, you were saying off the air that why Mikal? And
Well, I was saying it off the air though. It wasn't
There was
supposed
a
to be
reason.
said on air. But why Mikal? Okay,
Why
go
Mikal?
ahead.
So the thing is that think about it. We have very smart looking people in the industry, but at the same time think about it that we wanted to show a person who is 23 years old and we wanted to show a person who is 27 to 29 years old. So there is a transformation of these years. So think about it, your inventory of the people in the Pakistani industry. So I have very smart heroes, but we wanted it. And we brought Mikal to 28, his waistline, and then it brought to 32. So that was the kind of the thing which we wanted to do. And you could see in his personality also, Mikal is such a wonderful and diversified actor, but what you will see a curve of the acting. And Aswar always said that I wanted to bring him from one curve to another one. The young boy who is happy-go-lucky, and then he transforms into a very senior,
the film too as
senior and a very serious pilot also. So we wanted to do that. So Mikal must have done wonderful works, but I wanted to tell you is that this is going to be one of the best act of Mikal.
And no doubt.
But that's
I'm
great. But
pretty sure.
I think everything's going to work for Pakistanis, where Humayun Saeed is still a hero for all of us. I think so. We got to celebrate.
I could see it in your eyes that this question is coming.
No, but it's perfectly all right. But I want to move on to Ali over here.
Okay.
I'm very sorry that I'm taking
problem.
majority of your
Used to
time
it.
as well. So Ali,
By the way, Humayun Saeed is still a producer.
yeah, he's
and
still a
you-
producer. He makes films himself as well. And by
And
the way,
you-
Alhamdulillah, I've got a contract with PTV, so it's all right. Yeah. So Ali, moving on to you, it was your first film. And, it's not that easy in Pakistan these days to be in a film, because you need to know the directors. Otherwise, nepotism still working away in
It does,
Pakistan.
truly.
Everybody else's son and daughter, they would definitely get the work. How was it for you? How did you get this lucky?
And also congratulations on this.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I actually gave an audition.
Wow.
Auditions were happening at Noor Khan base, so I went there. I auditioned for that sick character, Rajit.
Yeah.
But then it further moved on to Sir Ali.
Okay.
So it was purely on auditions.
Yeah.
And the guidance given by Sir Numan and Sir Aswar as well.
Right.
So I think that was a huge part. I mean, they obviously saw something in me
Yeah.
that they gave me such a huge part.
You're on the right track, bro, I must tell you.
No, that's great. I have a question for you. Since you are playing a senior to Mikal over here, and you are playing a fighter pilot, right? So did you have like an ethnographic research of it? Did you spend your time with the real fighter pilot to learn how they live their lives? Or
Method
probably,
acting.
yeah.
Yeah, we did this fighter pilot, Hassan Jalal.
Okay.
He was a huge help for us. Like, he told us how we should sit. I mean, I used to sit and I used to slouch. He was, no, sit straight. And
Sit
I used
straight,
to
of
sit
course,
straight.
yeah.
And then Sir Numan as well, he would like come up to me and he would say, "Ke, Ali, you're a senior. You're supposed to have that vakar." So I would listen to him and I would go like, okay, what is he talking about? But then slowly and gradually I started getting what he's trying to say.
Oh, right.
And I
So you brought in the vakar.
Yeah, I brought in that
dignity
vakar
was
and that
important.
rage for a
Okay,
senior.
now I've got a very important question for you. Now, for example, Naman Saab being the producer and the writer. Now, I've worked with a few writers as well. For example, I think he's a marvelous writer, Khalilur Rahman Saab. He's a great writer as well. But there's this problem now. Now, eventually what happens is that, for example, I do these stupid things in between the show, which people might like and people might not like as well. So eventually what happens is that when you're working on somebody else's script, they want their lines to be with that punch which they have thought in their own head.
Yeah.
You know, so what they do is while they're coaching you, they take away your personality and then they try to put in somebody else's personality into that character. You forget yours, you cannot remember that, you're nowhere. Did that happen to you, or was it difficult? You know, okay, ये line ऐसे ही जाएगी, मैंने ऐसे लिखी है. So you know that's a big fight as well.
Very good question.
Thank you, I'm known for this.
It wasn't that difficult. I mean, the thing is, when I deliver my lines, Sir Numan would come up to me and he would like, okay, very good. That's great. That is exactly how
एक
I
और
imagined.
करेंगे लेकिन.
But just
No,
put
that
a little that a bit of variation.
Okay.
And he would go like, no, put this variation in this. So I would go like, oh, okay, let's do it again. So basically, he would praise me a lot. So that would make me deliver my lines more well. I would like,
See, I'll say this thing. He was a very good actor. One, he was looking very smart, but he was facing Mikal. That tall a person in terms of his work.
Right.
So I never wanted him because he was his senior and he had to be very tough with him. So I knew it in the academy. There were some seniors which we felt maybe they are seniors by 6 months, maybe they are seniors by 1 year, but maybe we could have switched the places also. So he was there and see his role, and he did it so well that at no point, once even he's walking towards the other side, I still see, and I go back about 15 to 20 years ago, that this is the gait, this is the walk style of a senior who is walking with his hands open like a small badmash.
I love it. But that's great. Again, of course, we don't have any doubt on your capabilities and talent. But ladies and gentlemen, when you were talking about the movie, I have read some reviews and I've spoken to people as well. There's a storyline that starts off from 65, and then there's a love story as well. There's a father and his son relation as well, that Mikal tries to pull off. And towards the end, you've also sort of incorporated an Indian fighter pilot. So many stories in one. How did you, manage to get all of that in a nutshell in a period of 2 hours or some minutes? But think about that, hold that thought. We are heading out to watch this amazing song from this amazing movie, and when we're done with that, we will get him to answer the question.
Let's
Stay
do
tuned.
that. Good morning. Sherdil.
तेरी मेरी यारियां बढ़ जान दे प्यार दी खुमारियां हाले हाले दिल वाली बातें तुझे बोलूं हाले हाले तू भी बता दूर दूर प्यार वाली गल्ला सकीतियां हाले हाले नेड़े तू आ हो जानिया
भीगी भीगी अखियों से तुझे मना लूं
बाहों में मैं भरूं तुझे हक सा जता लूं
दबे दबे लफ्जों में तुझे मना लूं
सजदों में मांगू तुझे
दुआ दूं
Wow, this was so stunning to watch,
Wonderful,
right?
yeah.
And all the things that I was watching were actually the ball gowns who were Irina over here. She looks so absolutely cute. But coming to you, Numan Sahab, my question to you, how did you manage to get so many storylines in just 2 hours?
You're very right that in 2 hours, 18 minutes, we wanted to touch a young cadet also. We wanted to touch a senior pilot also. There is a love story also. And there are many other things which you will watch in the movie. The thing is that this becomes very difficult for a writer to take everything in it. And the people who came out, they were so satisfied that you could do the justice with every character. Ali is sitting here. Now Ali had a character which he came and he was till the last scene, and people said that he was given a due time. But of course, in Ali's heart, it would be maybe I had one more scene or two more scenes, and we had to be very critical. But remember, when we started having the first edit, that was of 3 hours and 23 minutes. 3 hours, 23 minutes. And those scenes which are not there right now are of 1 hour.
Oh, wow.
1
Which
hour,
actually
which is not there. So
Right.
editing, I would give 100% marks to Rizwan Qadir, who is #1 editor of Pakistan, and he made it happen. And then Asfar went there, sat down with the editor, brought it down to 345. We made another edit, 245. 245, that was brought to 245. Then we did another edit, and finally 2 hours and 18 minutes movie, which is being played. So you have to, as Asfar says, is kill the babies.
Yeah, and you know, this is what I wanted to ask as well. You know, for the director, it is very hard, you know, to see that, you know, okay, this scene's going out, and probably, you know, the director feels it too as well, yaar. कि मैंने इतनी मेहनत से वाला सीन लिया तो इसमें होना ही चाहिए था, you know. So how do you give up on all of those babies too as well? I think it gets difficult.
I actually got used to it. This is my 4th film, so I've been killing the babies since Sayah. That was like 2013. Because you know, we always when we get the script, we usually do a rough calculation of the duration. But when you're shooting it, you know, when it comes down to you know, it over exceeds the duration usually. So what we do is that we sit down, we watch it, and then we have 2 options. One is to entertain the audience. We make sure that they don't get bored, you know, because after a certain time it becomes a drag for them. And the other option is that, okay, no, we do justice to the film. So we have to find a middle ground, because we can't do both. Because if we think about just entertainment, then, you know, we lose the content of the film. And if we do justice to the story, which obviously the writer has taken so much time to write all that and to give messages, whatever he wants, you know, then it becomes a drag. So we have to find a middle ground, and there's a lot of like back and forth between the producer, director, the editor, and then we come down to a duration. In fact, when I cut down to 245, Numan Sahab came in, and he cut down his scenes. He cut down himself before cutting out other people. Yeah, because he had a lot of, like, he had speeches in the film.
Obviously.
But then he cut those down.
Right, so
this scene, by the way, I'm sorry, I'm cutting
no
you.
problem.
Numan Sahab, the scene that the character that he's playing was supposed to be played by Junaid Jamshed. Originally.
Oh, all right. So you sort of covered up for that.
Yes.
Okay,
and did he agree to that as well? You know, because you guys shot the song together as well.
In fact, Junaid persuaded me to do this movie, and finally came up with such a thing, an offer that no producer would say no. And he said, Numan Khan, I have said no to Shoaib Mansoor, who sat down in my house for more than 3 days. And finally I used to say yes, no, and I couldn't do it. So I am telling you that I will do this movie. I will even be willing to give you the feedback on the songs and the music. I have not written every song of the Vital Signs, so we still have something here. So he was willing, and that was his job. And he was the one. And the name tag which I wear is Junaid. And at the beginning of the movie, I have dedicated this movie to 2 people. One is Junaid Jamshed and my late father.
Oh, that's so sweet. That's absolutely so sweet. We definitely do need to watch it, Shahzad. But since we were talking about editing, ladies and gentlemen, I feel like there's a lot of work that actually goes down in creating a movie. I mean, we never think about that. We're just waiting for it to come on screens, right? And just go enjoy and probably critique later after that as well. But Ali, a similar question for you too. Did it ever happen to you that you shot an amazing scene and you were like, wow, this is my best? And then when the movie came out, you were like, where's the scene? Did it happen?
Yeah, something of that sort did happen.
Okay.
It was actually the passing out
Be very careful
scenes.
with your words, bro. The director and the producer still here.
And we're watching.
No, it's okay. They're gonna leave me.
Okay.
So actually, it was the passing out scene, and I think it was a very good scene of mine.
Okay.
Basically, because we spent almost 12 hours shooting it.
Yeah.
I was like, यार काफी time लगा इसको तो होना चाहिए था.
Okay.
But I have no regrets in that. So
Of course, you'll get so many other chances
Yeah.
as well. But okay, talking in terms of the cast, that there's so many people on board on screen as well. Who was the best to work with? And okay, I'm not going to ask who was the worst to work with, but who like didn't help you at all?
almost everyone helped me,
Okay.
including Mikal.
Wow.
There's this cinema scene, and I couldn't get it right because I was really tired.
Okay.
And he came up to me and he was like, "Acha meri baat sun. Just face towards the camera and talk like this. थोड़ी ये वाली variation कर." And I was like, "Acha, okay."
Not
so
sure of it.
You're actually guiding me, and
Okay.
he was like, "No, no, you should do like this." So it was a really great help for me.
And Mikal himself is a great guy, you know.
He's a
Other
great
than
guy.
that, you know, he's always full of energy. He's on top of everything. He looks after himself. So I think he's got great energy to himself as
Yeah.
well.
Should
but I
we
want to
move
come
on to
back to
another song?
yeah, we'll definitely do that. But I want to come back to the director because he needs to, you know, let it heart out. Let's say let his heart out as well. Because for the director, ladies and gentlemen, I think every day is the most challenging.
Right.
Till the day that the film is complete, and then there's editing, and then there are effects and whatnot, and then one actor is missing, the other's dates are not available, and then you cannot pack up the shoot because there's a lot much cost involved in it. So how did that go? Was it like really smooth, and then there were days which was rough, it was raining, you couldn't shoot, the producers pushing you, you know, because it's just the director who needs to handle all of this together.
Well, the producer never pushed me. Honestly, he was very cooperative and he was very
It looks like
understanding.
he's a gentleman.
I had, obviously we had schedule issues, we had, mostly because of the pressure from our Air Force schedule, we had
Okay.
to match it like with them.
Yeah.
Because obviously it's not filmmaking is not their job. That's not their
Yeah.
first priority. So we had to bend our ways for them. And that was the main issue. In fact, like they were, like in our schedule, we had planned that we will shoot certain scenes before certain scenes.
Okay.
Because we wanted to show, like Namasa mentioned, we had an arc, you know, of like
The character
Haris,
shift.
The Haris character played by Mikal being young, and then you know he grows older, becomes a fighter pilot. So we couldn't do that eventually because we had to shuffle it all up.
Okay.
Because of the schedule given to us by. Air
So you
Force.
wanted to do the younger one first and then the older one, or the older one
I
first
wanted
and
to
then
do
the...
it in reverse.
Okay.
Because obviously we had to cut down the hair and facial hair and all that, but we couldn't because we had to mix and match.
Oh, right.
And this question pops up a lot. Okay, why why does he have a stubble and all
Yeah.
that? But honestly, we were
So
restricted.
let's talk about the makeup, let's talk about costumes,
Yeah.
wardrobes, you know, because it needs to be an entire team of almost 150 people
Yes.
to be together on the set as well, you know, and everything's need to be looked into very carefully, in depth and in detail. So how did all of that go? I want names, please mention them because they've done a great job.
Well, yeah, our makeup artist Mubashir, he did a wonderful job. Our choreographer Sonu Dangerous, he did an amazing job. Our associate director Pasha, he actually handled the entire schedule beautifully.
Okay.
Both on civilian grounds and in the bases as well. Yawar Malik, our line producer, he did an amazing job. So we all were working as a unit.
Wow. And music?
Music was Shani Arshad,
Oh,
the
Shani is a
background
great
score,
guy. Yeah.
and the songs were sung by Adnan Dhul. And Soch band, right?
Yeah,
Saanson Mein Baki Adam was
Zahid
my
Mustafa.
favorite.
Zahid Mustafa is
Zahid
my favorite
Mustafa,
too as
yeah.
well. I think that the entire cast, crew, ladies and gentlemen, everybody is on top of their game these days as well. But right now, since we mentioned about music within the films, ladies and gentlemen, play a very pivotal role. I mean, because music gets released earlier, and then if people like the songs, they would actually go to watch the film too as well. So we've got another song. We've jotted it out for you. Go ahead, take a listen, and let's see how do you feel about it. Come on.
Stay tuned.
Bring it on. I hope it's a good one. Yes.
सांसों में बाकी है दम, रोके कैसे खुद को हम, आगे बढ़ने वाले कदम रुकते नहीं है हमदम। सांसों में बाकी है दम, रोके कैसे खुद को हम, आगे बढ़ने वाले कदम रुकते नहीं है हमदम हारेंगे कैसे हम तो तूफानों के जैसे हार से भी जीत जाए इतनी आग बाकी है आंखों से मिला के आगे तो दिखा दे आजा रे आजा रे आंखों से मिला के आगे तो दिखा दे आजा रे आजा रे कैसे भूले हवा में उड़ना खून के जैसा रगों में है कैसे भूले शेर से लड़ना और झपटना रगों में है दिल है जानता बस आगे जाना आगे हो चाहे राहों में खुशी से जागो भी हार देंगे हम तो मौत को लेके बाहों में
I mean, I guess it's just in me and it's in every Pakistani, ladies and gentlemen. Whenever we talk about our armed forces, we just get more patriotic. And, you know, so I think that the song actually gave me goosebumps as well. I just want, and, you know, Naman Sahab said that Mikal was actually flying the plane. How lucky, how lucky. Wow, that's great. How did the Air Force actually allow somebody to fly, you know?
This never happens every day. In fact, Tom Cruise is right now shooting the Top Gun 2.
Yeah.
And finally he came up with this brilliant idea that I will fly the aircraft and then I will be in this thing. Though we never got to do this thing, but this was a unique thing that we told Pakistan Air Force that Mikal would like to sit in the jet and we would like to capture all these things once it is happening. So these all things, once you are seeing it, in fact, there was special permission given. Mikal flew in Mishak first, then afterwards he flew in the K-8, then afterward he flew into the Mirages. So in the dual seaters, he was always there. And that is what you saw.
Wow.
Wow, that is so
So did he go through like a test for G-force and everything as well? Because, you know, you were risking your actor over there.
Oh, that was like a big stunt on Mikal's behalf. So I think it's a big deal, you know, like the only civilian who's flown in a fighter jet in Pakistan. That's, I think, a big honor.
I'm pretty sure it is a big deal. And since you are talking about stunts, you know, this was probably a few months back. Your action director was here, and he mentioned that there were some scenes where, you know, Mikal broke his jaw and, you know, even broke his wrist and something. Did this happen to you at any point? And do you feel like, I'm not sure about this, but this is a question for all of you. I mean, in Pakistani industry, do we lack doubles? I mean, who can probably do your stunts?
Obviously, we lack ourselves, you know, at times as well. It's hard to get doubles.
Ali, let's start with you.
No, Alhamdulillah. I'm fine.
I mean, the actors are not getting paid. How do you think that the double will get paid? It will get difficult.
No, we had lots of doubles.
Yeah.
I would say there were lots of doubles. Even I wouldn't like to ruin it. There is one scene.
Don't ruin it then.
There is one scene, so that's what I'm saying. There's one scene in which they are going to see two main actors on the screen and they were never there.
So you had a double for Hassan Niazi as well?
So they were never there. So they were all body doubles. So we did it that way.
Right.
At the same time, as you are asking about this fracture of the temple and something of this kind, yes, it happened. But the actual fight sequence, we need to have you. And the hand used to just go
in some of the angles, obviously you need to be there, and Mikal got hit right, like near
and at times you need it, you know, the camera needs it, you know, so probably I think the actor needs to.
We are releasing, by the way, that BTS today.
Okay.
That BTS is being released today.
Well, if you would have told us this before the show, I think we would have made you release it over here too as well. But it was wonderful to have you guys. It was superb, and I think that you've done a great job. So in next 5 years, are we going to witness any other Sherdil 2 or any other concepts which you have in your head right now?
Any movie will have 2, 3, 4, 5 if the people go and watch that movie.
Right, that's
in
true.
fact, whenever it comes to this end that we have to watch a movie, we think about it, we have shadi, we have birthdays, we have this, we have that, we have other commitment, and in the end, if we get some time, we will go to the movie, lest we get a pass.
Right.
So,
Right.
so the thing is that this is, as a nation, we need to tame ourselves and train ourselves that in fact this is part of entertainment.
Absolutely.
I'll say that Indians, they would not eat food, but they will go and watch their movie. And even their Tamil movies, they get a show of 600 people and it is 100% full. And our own language, which is spoken by 1.5 billion people, 1.5 billion people, that is not attempted by our own Pakistanis. So I'll request that go out, yes, write about it if it is not good, but at least give it a chance.
Absolutely, I do totally agree with that. Moving on to your sphere, I'm pretty sure you already have a lot to your name. MashaAllah, that's so great. Congratulations on this as well. And we will definitely keep seeing your work. But Ali, who is Ali 5 years down the lane? I mean, what are your...
Ali is Ali, yeah.
Come on.
Probably married to somebody.
What you planning for the...
No, not too soon.
Okay, not too soon.
Okay, then.
I think probably in the films.
Yeah.
Right, okay. Are you also going to sort of venture into dramas and whatnot?
I hope so.
Okay, inshallah.
Okay,
Thank you so much, gentlemen, for being here early in the morning. So we were in conversation with the team behind Sherdil. That is on the screens in theatres around you, ladies and gentlemen. Go watch it because we definitely will. And since, you know, we were talking about how we do not pay enough heed to probably Pakistani content, I feel like Shahzad and I keep reiterating that we Pakistani buy Pakistani first of all. Also, I'll be honest, I mean, of course, I was hooked to Indian productions and whatnot like every other person, but recently this unfortunate event that we were just discussing, after that I have unfollowed every Indian actor that I know on my Facebook, on my Instagram, because I don't need any updates from them. I'm not watching their trailers and their songs or anything like that. So, Pakistan Zindabad.
Pakistan Zindabad, ladies and gentlemen. Do write to us on our Facebook page, which is with the name of...
Well This Morning.
On Twitter.
Well This Morning without a
On
G.
Daily Motion and G2.
Also Well This Morning.
The fabulous repeat is going to be at
11 p.m. tonight.
And before I say till the next time, ladies and gentlemen, if you're a Sherdil, you got to watch Sherdil as well. Till the next time, 1 to 3.
Good morning.
Thank you.
Magla Hills, the heaven of Islamabad. The abode of God, a place where you can explore your soul and meet power of natural elegance of mountains. Spread over an area of 12,605 hectares, the Magla Range, the foothills of Himalayas, are youngest hills with an age of 5,000 years old. Magla Hills are home to around 600 plant species, 250 bird varieties, 38 mammals, and 13 species of reptiles. Magla Range is characterized by many valleys, scenic spots, and beautiful water streams, especially in the monsoon months. Famous for their tranquil environment and lush green natural splendor, Magla Hills are a particular source of pride, harmony, and spiritual solace. For the residents of Islamabad, many of whom make it a weekly ritual to scale the various trails to Damaneko and Pir Suhara. Magla Hills send off its visitors with lasting trail of memories to relish in solitude and provide an escape from the relentless rhythm of life.